The next thing that we have is a special presentation. So every once in a while we get to do something to honor somebody who's been a part of the community, who's made a significant contribution. And sometimes these people know about it ahead of time and sometimes they don't. And tonight they don't for this one. I'm going to read a couple of things here, and then I'm actually going to let you figure out along the way who I'm talking about, and I'll sum it up a little bit more at the end. Stepping into a new leadership role is a daunting task, regardless of one's previous experience. In 2003, John Evans was asked to take on the leadership role for the Southeast Asia Study Abroad term at St. Stephen's University. John took on the task as a volunteer and dove in with the tenacity of some say a bulldog or an entrepreneur opening a new business. And over the term of his leadership role, up until this last trip in the fall, he worked hard to build new relationships, foster existing ones, and make many new friends in the process. Time and again, he worked with new leadership teams, patiently waiting for the time when someone else will be able to step forward and take the helm. And in these ways, John has been a faithful friend to SSU and to the many he's met in his journeys. Throughout all of these ventures and adventures, for John loves a good adventure, John maintained his demeanor as a confident leader who took the time to iron out all the details ahead of time that could be ironed out, and work with all the anomalies as they presented themselves on the road. He thought carefully about how to expose students to adventure while keeping them safe, and continually improving the program on a modest budget, and promoting SSU as a partner that overseas institutions would be proud to work with. In these ways, he's been a trusted scout. Perhaps that's why Greg Finley naturally began to refer to John as Kimosabi during the 2009 Southeast Asia program. Though a definitive source and definition of the term Kimosabi has remained elusive despite scholars' attempts to nail down the true source, the commonly accepted translations are faithful friend and trusted scout. Whatever the reason, the terms seem to fit John's leadership and his desire to engage in conversation with whomever he met in his travels. And it elicited a hearty chuckle whenever Greg would use it too. As we journey into this hagiography, the miracle associated with John's impending sainthood has yet to be identified. So John, as you read these accounts, they're especially for you. This is a book that's been put together by alumni and staff and faculty that have worked with John over the years. They're personal accounts, so this is not going to be a widely distributed book, but it's up to John's discretion on the pieces that he might reveal to family and friends and let them in on some of the stories that people recall. So as you read the accounts, John, some more fantastical than others, as may happen in some hagiographies, think about if the miracle might be how he kept the Southeast Asia program alive almost single-handedly, or the conversations he had with people that deeply affected their lives, or how he survived his regular beach excursions with his skin intact. I'm going to read two selections, and the rest are for John to decide how he would like to expose to the world. The hagiography, you know, becoming a saint takes a long time. So this is the beginning. This is a slow process. Okay, slow start to the process. This memory was contributed by one of our board members, Ms. Kathleen Patchell, and she said this: "My husband John and I had the privilege of accompanying John Evans and a group of SSU students to Southeast Asia in the fall of 2012. On many Sundays during the trip, John Evans sang at whatever church we were attending. Also note, Kathleen's words may have been adjusted a little bit, as the editor of the hagiography always claims rights to relay in the best possible way. John's voice was known to have a particular calming, encouraging effect on almost all Asian populations. So word of his coming always elicited an invitation to sing in services, and people would come in droves. On October 7th, in Lawag, in the North Philippines, John had just began to sing when suddenly the church building began to shake. Many people began running for the doors, while others remained in their seats praying audibly. John did not realize what was happening until afterwards, when he learned that Lawag had experienced an earthquake of a magnitude of 5.6 on the Richter scale, which some say he may have initiated. There is a link to the website recording the actual event of the earthquake in the book, and there's also a footnote that states, conflicting accounts of this event include an assertion that the location was actually in Manila, at the largest church in the city. The accounts suggest that thousands came to faith that day in Manila. In the Lawag account, hundreds came to faith. Later on, the truth will probably be decided somewhere in between. One more excerpt before we move on to the rest of the program. This is an anonymous contribution. I can't reveal as the editor of the hagiography who submitted this, so you'll just have to see if the story rings true for yourself. But the person said, I heard a rumor once that John disarmed an armed man in Manila when that man was trying to board the SSU bus to Lawag. The bus had become bogged down in typical Manila gridlock traffic when a man with a pistol began banging on the door of the bus and eventually pushed it open. As he ascended the stairs at the front of the bus, John stood up from the back of the bus, ran down the aisle, and lunged horizontally to meet the attacker at the top of the stairs. Some students say he lunged from halfway down the bus aisle. Others say he may have even jumped from the back of the bus and flew the whole way down the aisle. Either way, the lives of a busload of SSU students and NWU staff were saved that day. Some accounts are fantastical, some are heartwarming, as people recall John's time, influence, dedication to several Southeast Asia programs. So John, we'd like to present this book to you. If you'd like to come up, and thank you very much for your service.